are watching Paranormal Zone TV, a live podcast. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to give the show a like. Enjoy.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm so excited to have this fabulous guest with us tonight. Our guest is Clete Keith, and he is, let me find, he is Clete Keith. He is the author of The Ghost of Greystone Mansion of Beverly Hills. He has spent over 20 years working at the Greystone Mansion, a renowned movie landmark. Keith Keith decided to write about Doheny estate after experiencing paranormal activity and gathering stories from guests over a period of, how many years? How many years was that? 20 years? Oh, sorry. Okay. The mansion was completed in 1928 and remains a famous landmark, often associated with unsolved mysterious chapter in Hollywood history. The Ghost of Greystone is available on Amazon. Let me show you the book. Available on Amazon. And you can get a signed copy of the book at ghostofgreystone.com. So with that, let me bring on Keith. Hi, Clete. Thanks so much for
Hello there.
joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it very much.
Oh, thank you so much. Again, I want to tell the viewers this is the book that you can get on Amazon. And also, you can get a signed copy of ghostofgreystone.com. So, Keith, just tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, okay?
Okay. This discusses obviously a really iconic location that I had no idea about when I first started working there. As a matter of fact, I'd done some films and television as an actor and everything. And one day, the crew on this one movie I was working on said that they were going to shoot today up at Greystone Park. And I said, "What is that?" And he said, "It's a mansion in Beverly Hills." I said, "Oh, okay." I'd never heard of it. And little did I know, about 5 years later, I would be working at that mansion. And that mansion, at the front of the mansion, it's like 12 and a half acres. Down at the front, which is called the gatehouse, would be my office. And so I actually had no clue about ghosts or anything. I wasn't into it. I don't think I actually really believed it. But then once I started working there, and I ended up working there for 22 years. And in 2020, when COVID hit and everything, they asked people if they wanted to leave and just get, in essence, paid off and just leave. And I wanted to write full time. So I said, "Yeah, I want to go." But before I left, I wanted to talk to all my friends who had gone through crazy stuff at the mansion, because it was almost every day something would happen, or someone would come up to me, or they'd be sent to me and say, "You got to talk to Clete about that." And just because I was fascinated, and then it became like in the book, it's 87 different people I talked to, with at that time over 300 stories just about that location, just about the inside the mansion, outside the mansion, and on the grounds. And that's what fascinated me. So that's what started me into going, I should do something before I leave. I want to know everything about this location.
Oh, God. Okay. So, will you give us the history of the Greystone?
Yeah, here's a relatively brief history, because the history is pretty amazing. And Edward Lawrence Doheny, Edward L. Doheny, was from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. And he came out here in the late 1800s. And he came out here as a relatively young man. I think he was in his 30s. And he wanted to find gold out in California, which was the rage, right? Everything was the rage in California for gold. He came out here, he didn't find gold. But one day he came out with a friend of his, Charles Canfield, and they saw a guy walking, pulling this cart on Wilshire near La Brea. And they said, he said, what is this in the cart? And the guy said, "It's called Brea." And he said, what is that? He goes, it's hardened oil, which turns into tar. And it's like chunks. They look like rocks. And it was piled all in the back of this cart. And he said, well, what do you do with it? He goes, we sell it. We sell it for fuel. And he was like, that's interesting. That's okay. That's interesting. So, to get you into the mansion part of it, what he did was he started, he and Charles Canfield purchased a small little parcel of land near Wilshire and Alvarado, very small. And they decided they'd get a pick and a shovel and they would start digging for oil, which, if you think about it, is kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy, but when you're younger and you're like full of like, we're going to make this happen, that's what they did. And they started digging and they used the pick and they got down with a pick and a shovel. They got down 150 feet, which is pretty amazing. But then they felt like, we haven't hit anything. We got to go further. So they went out and they found a eucalyptus tree, as straight as can be. And they took that eucalyptus tree, huge tree, and it's really heavy. They're really heavy. And at the very end of the tree, after they cut it down, they carved almost like a drill bit at the end of that tree. And they tied it to ropes and they lowered it down the hole. And I'm guessing there are two different theories. One is they got like a donkey and they had him walk around and it was just, right, just like a drill.
Wow.
Others say they set up a rig that allowed them to turn it. Regardless, think about that. They got a eucalyptus tree, they dropped it down, they started turning it, and they went down 450
No way.
150 feet, and they hit oil.
Oh my God.
And when they hit oil, they started bringing up, I think it was like 5 to 7 barrels a day. This is just the beginning.
Oh my God.
And which wasn't really anything, but then they kept doing it and bringing up more and more, and they started making enough money to go out and to purchase more land. And where they decided to purchase, they had heard someone say down in Tampico, Mexico, you should go down there because there's oil seeping up through the dirt. And he went, I got to go. So he went down there and he started looking, and basically with the money that he had made in LA, he went down there and he honestly fleeced the Mexicans of their land and bought it for cheap, for nothing, because they're just happy to have any kind of money. And he bought this area that was a oil gold mine in essence. So he started drilling now with better rigs down there. And he ended up hitting a 600-foot geyser. That's 60 stories high.
Oh my God.
One of the largest ever to be found. They capped it in over, I think it was 2 weeks. And he became a billionaire overnight.
Oh God.
And it was the Rockefellers and the Dohenys. But the Dohenys were actually manufacturing more oil than the Rockefellers. With that money, he came back up and he bought 429 acres, which now is Beverly Hills, and Truesdale Estates, because Paul Truesdale came in later in the picture and purchased a lot of the property to subdivide and all that. But Edward L. Doheny bought all that land. He had a house down by SC where Ned, his son, and Lucy, Ned's wife, were living with their daughter Lucy, their sons William, Edward, Patrick, and Tim. They were living next to their dad. And then once this came through and they bought all the property, then Edward L. said, look, I'm going to give you a parcel of land, 12 and a half acres, actually 18 at that time, acres, and we'll build a house on it for it, where the house actually is a mansion. And so...
Oh, can I say one thing? I
Absolutely.
don't know if anybody is familiar with the Hearst Castle. I've been there many times in San Simeon. So at the same time he was building this mansion, the Hearst Castle was going on in San Simeon on the coast.
That's exactly right. And they called Greystone the Hearst Castle of the South, of Southern California. So that's exactly right. So with this land, they started to build the mansion, and the mansion it's right now, and at that time, once they finished, and I'll tell you, they started the building on February 15th, 1927. So excavating and getting everything ready, 18 acres, and it cost well, altogether it was $3.1 million. This is back in, remember, there was the Depression coming on.
Yep.
Yeah, so 3.1 million was crazy, but the house itself was 1.2 when they finished. The land and the mansion itself were 3.1.
So at that time, this was 1929. Do you know how much that was in today's money?
Well, it keeps changing because I keep looking that up and it keeps changing. And I think it's undervalued. Like in 2020, they said it was worth 50 million. Well, I know somebody who lives near there and their property is probably worth 40 million and it's only 5 acres. This is 12 acres now at the top of a hill.
Yeah.
And that mansion, so let's talk about the mansion and the building of the mansion.
Okay.
So they excavate this whole property to put down below, they put stables for horses, a car garage for, I think it was 4 or 5 large cars back then. They also had a greenhouse and a gatehouse where they would put a guard so that you would enter what we call the 501 gate. You go up to the guard gate, he would come out, check you in and everything, and send you up the hill, up to the mansion. The mansion itself was cement and rebar. Gordon Kaufman was the architect, and Gordon Kaufman designed Hoover Dam, and also the Times building downtown. These are all cement build, Times building is cement. Of course, Hoover Dam is cement and rebar.
Mhm.
So when he came on, he was a very well-known architect. He came on and designed it. Mrs. Doheny looked at the original design and said, no, these rooms are too huge. The mansion's going to be too huge. Mrs. Doheny, meaning Ned's wife, Lucy. It's too huge. She wanted more intimate rooms, a big home, but with more intimate rooms. Now, intimate for us is intimate for them, right?
Yeah.
So he ended up using cement and rebar, and he poured cement with the rebar and built a 46,000 square foot home. Take that all in. 55 rooms, 67 altogether with walk-in closets. There is a recreation wing, and if you saw There Will Be Blood, the ending with Daniel Day-Lewis in the bowling alley, that's the bowling alley at Greystone. There's a boys wing off the recreation. The recreation wing has upstairs is a theater, and back in the day, they would hire Broadway acts. Remember, there wasn't, television and all this stuff. They would hire Broadway acts to come in and perform on this little teeny stage. It's the coolest little area. And by the way, which we'll get into later, but the theater, they renovated the theater right before I left, I left in 2020. They were renovating the theater for I think late 2018 through 2019. And let me tell you, when you do renovation of a location that's already haunted, it goes off the charts.
Oh, yeah.
They don't, you know this, right?
Yeah.
So they don't want you touching anything, and they're in there taking out walls and stuff. And let me tell you, that's something else we can talk about later on. So there's the theater. Down below is the bowling alley. And then there's a turret, like a stairs, and go up to the boys' wing. that crosses over south to upstairs, which is the second floor landing, and it's the family rooms are in that second floor area halfway through the building. Then it starts the second floor servants wing. Downstairs is like a card room. There's the living room, which is the biggest part of the home. There's a den. There's the kitchen, a beautiful kitchen. South guest room, which is known as the murder room, and across the hall is the north guest room. And so basically they split up the house halfway through the main part of the house that goes east, which is the servants wing. And so getting back to the house and the building of the house, poured cement, it's Indiana limestone fronts the whole building. And if we know anything about limestone, that it's a conductor of energy, right?
Yes.
When Stephen King wrote The Shining in Colorado, what's the name of the place in Colorado?
Oh God, I actually stayed in his room.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Okay, so
I can't remember. I'm sorry.
That location, I'll remember once the show's over. That location is, as you know, highly haunted, and that's where Stephen King wrote The Shining. And he wrote it there because it was haunted, and it gave him the idea to write the film, the book actually became the film. So, so it's fronted with Indiana limestone, and there's Welsh slate on the top and out on the grounds. So that's where you get the Greystone, is from the gray slate. But the limestone surrounds the whole building. It's the walls are 3 feet thick. It's amazing. It's like a fortress because he was a cement guy. So the building of this location began in February 15th, 1927. By September of 1928, so it's a year later, they were able to move in. That is incredible in itself. This is a 46,000 square foot home, along with a pool and up above and the horse stables and the garage. They were able to move in September of 1928. They move in with Ned and his wife and daughter and the 4 boys. They move in. It's in September. In February 16th, which is coming up, 1929, for like 4 months later, Ned and his secretary are found dead inside the mansion. So Ned was only there about 4 months. His wife stayed on for years, but he was dead in 4 months after having moved in. So that kind of gives you a little background to the building of it and how they got the money and how they chose Beverly Hills. It was just his taking the 429 acres in that area.
Okay, so
Yep.
It was the Stanley Hotel at Estes Park.
Damn, how can I could not remember that?
I can never remember
Sorry.
that.
I usually do. Sorry.
Okay, so now
Yes.
let's go into the tragic past of the mansion.
Okay. There are so many tragedies, murders, suicides that have happened on that location that it's no wonder it's haunted. And you have to ask, did these things happen because of the location itself? Now remember, that area, for every place around here, I'm in California, so I'm in Santa Monica. That area was owned or inhabited by the Tongva Indians and the Chumash.
Oh, I didn't know
So,
that.
so in my thoughts and process about this whole thing, did the taking that whole land and just destroying it and digging it up and everything, first of all, did they find bones of the Tongva? Did they, and if so, I mean, when I was working at Greystone, somebody came to me and said, "Hey, man, there's a place up the road, just, I mean, literally a couple blocks up the road from there, that they're digging for a pool, to build a pool in this. They're redoing this whole location,
Yeah.
and they dug a pool and they were finding bones."
Oh my God. The Indians must have been involved in that once they found out. Did they?
Well, so yeah, what happens is when that happens, you have to, like California, I don't know about anywhere else, but you have to report that you have found bones, and you have to stop immediately.
Yes.
I know for a fact there are other areas in that area that people, because listen, it's all there. You know that Beverly Hills is all it is money, money, money.
Yeah.
So when people are hired to do something like that and they find bones, they're like, keep going, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to say it because they'll lose their
No,
jobs.
yeah.
So it's a really difficult thing. So regardless, I don't know, because this was back in 1927. I don't know if they found bones or anything. Can't say that's the case, but could there have been a curse on the land? I don't know.
Yeah. That's
Don't know.
yeah.
But there were things that led up to the murder-suicide of Ned and Hugh in the mansion, and other things, along with 2 maids that committed suicide.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, 2 maids. Well, I will tell you things that a lot of people don't know, just because I lived it, and I investigated and talked to people, and they would come to me and say, "Oh, by the way," and they tell me stuff. I said, "You're kidding me." So I know of 2 suicides of maids, another maid that was murdered that has never come out, and the only reason I found that out was a forensic specialist for the city of Beverly Hills became my friend, who's still my friend. His name is Clark Fogg, and he told me as I was writing the script, he does like the foreword on the script for me. He told me, are you putting the murder that took place with the maid in the house? I said, what are you talking about? He goes, there was a murder of a maid between 2 guys that worked there. It was like a love triangle, and she was killed. And he said, and they actually carried her in a carpet out the service door.
Now,
And
what year was this?
it had to be probably in the 30s. He didn't have a specific date for me. And I said, Clark, I've never heard this. He goes, well, nobody's ever really talked about it. So you have Ned and Hugh, you have 2 maids that committed suicide, another maid that was murdered, and then you also had in 2003, I think, Noreen, 2003. I was off that day. I lived really close by, and a good friend of mine who was working there called me up and said, "Are you here today?" And I said, "No." And she said, "You might want to come up. Somebody just killed himself."
Now, who owned the mansion in 203?
It was the city of Beverly Hills.
Oh, so when did the city of Beverly Hills get the mansion?
Well, what happened was we have the murder-suicide, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
And then Lucy, the wife, stays on until 1955.
Oh, okay.
And then she ends up selling the house to Henry Crown, who it was out of Chicago and had a lot of dealings in Chicago. And they say that he bought the mansion, and his wife heard about what was going on. She said, hell no, I'm not moving into that damn place.
Wow.
So he held on to it and used it for rented it out for filming and events and things like that. And then in 1969, he sold the mansion to the city of Beverly Hills, and the city of Beverly Hills allowed AFI, the American Film Institute, to come in for $1 a year, and they could use it as their campus.
Damn.
So they were in from 69 to 81, I believe. And then it became, during that time, became a public park. So in 2003, everybody's out of there. It was just an empty mansion. But this man, it's a really sad situation. This man had cancer and was a scout director and all that stuff, and I think was told that he could no longer be the scouting director for this group because of his health, and they took it away from him, and he was so distraught that he went to the Willow Pond. And I'm going to tag this into something if you're okay with this.
Oh yeah, go.
Okay. So he was. She told me to come up I came up and I went up the back way. I knew how to get up the back way because the police blocked it off. But I went up the back way and came up the side of the hill and got up to what's called the AFI lot. It's a small little parking lot right by the firehouse, and it was taped off. And the guy was still sitting on the bench. He'd blown off half his head. And the crazy thing about it was, and Clark Fogg actually was there that day. I didn't know Clark, and he ended up becoming a very good friend and wrote the foreword from the book and everything. So, but he said it was, when I talked to him about it, he said it was a pretty gruesome sight what he had done. But the thing was, after they did all the forensics, because he had written a note, a suicide note, and put it in a Ziploc bag because he knew it was going to be messy. So he shoots his head. They find the note, and then the police were freaked out that maybe he had killed his wife and kids, and then killed him because they didn't know what was going on. So they went to his house, found out no, his wife was fine, the kids were fine. He was just distraught. So, but the crazy thing about it was, after that happens, they do all the forensics, and they eventually take the body away, and they were doing boy, oh boy, they were doing a play. It was a kids' camp. It was during the summer. I remember it was really hot. So this guy killed himself with a kids' camp, was up there. And on another side note, and this is honest to God true, only in Beverly Hills, a woman drives up the hill to go to the top parking lot to drop off her child for the kids' camp. As she's driving up the hill, this guy is in the Willow Pond area where you could see, and he blows half his head off. The woman keeps driving up. She goes to the camp counselors and said, lets her daughter out and says, somebody just blew half their head off. I'm late for work. I've got to go. And she turns around and leaves, having left her little daughter after this guy blew his head off. Insanity. Anyway, the crazy thing about it was, they get the body out of there and everything. The guy who was running the sound and everything for the kids' camp, because they're doing a show, he comes walking down the hill to that area, to the Willow Pond, because there were bathrooms there, restrooms. He walks around, and Steve Clark, the senior ranger, is standing there. He doesn't want people to go in, but he's standing there. And this guy comes around and says, hey, what's going on here? And he said, well, we had, an unfortunate situation. He goes, what happened? And we knew him quite well. And he said, well, a guy just killed himself and everything on the bench over there. And he goes, where? He said, Steve looks over there. There's nobody. He goes, on that bench. He killed himself on that bench. He goes, I just walked down the hill and I saw a guy sitting on the bench.
No.
Yeah. And he goes, no, there's been nobody on that bench for a couple hours because we had to do all. He goes, no. There was a guy sitting on the bench.
Oh my God.
And Steve goes, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say. So that just leads to, that's what it's Greystone. That's what I keep telling people. It's Greystone.
How many, I know there was tons of movies that were filmed there. Can you name some of the most famous ones that were there?
Spider-Man, I think Sam Raimi shot there big time. There'll Be Blood. They shot quite a bit. In the most important scene at the end was shot there down in the bowling alley. Also, what was the
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters was there. The Big Lebowski. They used the inside of that mansion all over the place. A lot. Gilmore Girls.
Yeah,
that was part of their school. You can look it up. It goes on tons of films and television series there as well. So it's pretty crazy.
All right, let's get to the murder.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about what they say led up to the murder. So Hugh Plunkett worked at what's called back then a service station, which is a gas station. And Ned's wife, Lucy, her dad owned that gas station where Hugh Plunkett worked. He became friends with Ned Doheny. And eventually, when Ned had the house and everything built, he needed a manager to overlook the property, whatever. And he asked Hugh, hey, why don't you come, work for me? They were very good friends. He came on and worked and did the managing of the property. So, with that being said, we get into eventually what's called the Teapot Dome scandal.
Can you tell them about that?
Yeah, so the Teapot Dome scandal was, in a nutshell, there were naval reserves. There are still naval reserves, oil reserves in the United States. Teapot Dome was one, and so was Buena Vista Hills and Elk Hills in California. And the Harding administration, which was an extremely corrupt administration, Albert Fall was the Secretary of the Interior. He was friends with Edward L. Doheny and Harry Sinclair. I don't know if are you out here in LA?
I'm in east side of San Francisco.
Oh, okay. I don't know if they have them up there, but there are gas stations called Sinclair.
No, I've
Gas.
never seen it.
We have them down here. And they have like a dinosaur is what their thing is,
Oh, yeah.
logo. I don't know what that is. But, Harry Sinclair was friends with Albert Fall. So was Edward L. Doheny. Once Albert Fall became the Secretary of the Interior, Albert Fall basically said to both Harry and Edward, listen, I'll give you access to Harry. You can have Teapot Dome oil reserve, and Edward, you could have Buena Vista Hills and Elk Hills. Now, Buena Vista and Elk Hills alone, having access to that, gave Edward L. Doheny $100 million just for those locations to take that oil, to have access to that oil. You're supposed to have people bid. They would bid to be able to have access. He didn't do that because these were his friends. They played cards and stuff together. Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. So they got those locations, and suddenly Harry Sinclair's out there, having a great time, buying cars and property, and he's doing great. And they're going like, what the hell is with Harry and his new car? Now he's got a new something's up. So they started looking into it, and they pressed him and they took him to court, and they found out that he was basically given that property by Albert Fall. And so Harry was sent to prison for a year. Now they wanted to go after Edward L. Doheny. And they thought the best way to do it, because he was the kingpin, man. He was the one that was Doheny oil, all that stuff. So what they wanted to do is they thought, once he got the oil fields, Edward did, he sent his son Ned and Hugh Plunkett, $100,000 in a satchel, and sent him to New York to give that to Albert Fall. And Edward always said it was a loan. He needed money. It was just a loan. Well, it was a payoff.
Yeah.
Everybody knew it.
Oh, yeah.
So after that happened, they thought, well, in order to get Edward L., let's go after Ned and Hugh and take them to court, break them down, and then nail Edward. So they started the process to do that, and the proceedings were getting close, and the family felt that, and this is what I've heard, what I have understood, was that the family felt that Hugh wouldn't be able to withstand a trial. He'd be too fragile, and they were afraid he might give up the goods, basically. So they talked to him and said, look, we could put you in a sanatorium and say that you're in there for your teeth because you're getting hooked on cocaine. Because then they use cocaine to numb the teeth. So they said we could do that, and then when the proceedings are over, then we'll let you out. And it is said that Hugh thought, I know too much, they'll never let me out.
Oh, I
So
didn't read that.
yeah, well, that's from other insider things that I talked to a
Mm.
lot of people about that. And so it is said that Hugh had just divorced his wife. That happened and it broke him. And now this was the proceedings were coming closer. He was becoming fragile. So he
Wow.
shows up at the property, gets access to the property with his key, goes in. There are two different versions of this. One says that he got a gun out of the garage area, which I don't see that happening. I would think that he would come into the house with the key and go up to what's called the gun room. Here's a hint. Go up to the gun room and he got a gun, a handgun, and went downstairs to the south guest room. And that's where Ned was. And Ned was in his smoking jacket and with his whiskey and sitting in there smoking a cigar. And Hugh shows up and he starts drinking and now they get into it and they get into an argument. So Mrs. Doheny said she hears what she thought was a chair turning over, which was a lie. And there were gunshots that rang out, only two. One was a shot of someone else and a shot of themselves. So, and the reason I say it that way is everybody couches it that the argument ensued. Hugh was fragile. They were going at it. They had been drinking, and Hugh has the gun, and he shoots Ned and then shoots himself.
Hmm.
I personally don't believe that's the truth, because when you look at it after it's all done, Hugh is buried 30 yards away from Ned. If that were my family and this guy shot me, they're not going to bury him 30 yards away from me.
Oh, I didn't know they were buried in the same
Oh,
cemetery.
yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
also, if you commit suicide in the Catholic religion,
Yeah.
Ned is not buried where his family is. His dad. It's not there. So they buried him separately and away from everybody, and then they put Hugh relatively close to him.
Oh.
So something's off. There was a book.
Well,
Go ahead.
they had a relationship, didn't they? A personal relationship, the two of them.
They want to say that. I think they were very close. Whether they were lovers or not, I don't know. I was going to say it makes it sexy, but wrong word. I think a lot of people want that to be the case, but it could be. It could very well be. As a matter of fact, there was a woman that showed up to the mansion one day, and Ranger Steve Clark, Senior Ranger Clark, one of my best friends, talked to this woman. And she wanted to go inside. Can I go inside and get? She goes, well, we don't do tours. We haven't done that for a while, but thank you. She goes, well, she knew of someone that had knew of a nun, that had seen them together. In what way, I don't know, but she insinuated, now there's more going on there with these two. Whether that's true or not, we don't know. But bottom line is that doesn't really matter. I don't think it was they were caught. They wanted to say they were caught together in bed, and Lucy came and said, "Oh my God!" and shot them both. That just does not play out properly. I don't think it plays out that way.
Now, wasn't the room locked? I read that the room where they were, the door was locked. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So if you go inside the mansion today and you go down the grand steps to the grand hall, you turn right, you can just walk straight. There are no doors. You can just walk through to the living room and then to the murder room. Well, back then there were doors that closed that. So this is what they say happened, that Hugh snapped, he kills Ned, and he's out of his mind. And the maid calls this Fishbaugh, the family doctor. He was at a theater watching a play. He comes over, and they say that he enters the house. This is why it's just a little skeptical.
Mhm.
I'm skeptical of the situation. He enters the house with Lucy Doheny, and they go down to the grand hall. They turn, and there's a Hugh at those doors that are cracked open, and he says, "Get back!" And he closes the doors, and they hear a gunshot, and now he's
Oh.
laid dead by the door of the murder room.
Mm.
Now, I'm just thinking of that right now, Noreen, and it doesn't play out for me because the murder room is quite a ways away from where those doors were.
Mhm.
So for him to shoot himself, there'd have to be a blood trail past the living room. It doesn't play out. Bottom line was that I think they got into an argument. I think Ned was loaded, drinking, and Hugh became drunk. And I think Ned shot his best friend and went, "Oh my God, what have I done?" and shot himself.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so what about it was a 45 caliber?
Yeah.
I heard that, I mean, I read that there was no fingerprints. They couldn't get fingerprints off of the gun.
Well, there's a book called Me Detective, Me, comma, Detective by Leslie White. And he wrote this book about a bunch of, because he was an investigator for the city of Beverly Hills and all that stuff, and a detective. And he wrote this book. And within that book, he claims a bunch of things that sound to be true, because you're reading his story about the gun was wiped, that he was laying outside the room with the gun in the wrong hand because he was right-handed. It was in his left hand.
Yeah.
A cigarette was still smoldering. If he fell and shot himself, the cigarette wouldn't be. It was like, I saw a photo of it. It was like out of his hand and it had burned down. It doesn't add up to me. But a friend of mine, Clark Fogg, said that. He goes, I'm reading his book, and he goes, that's not how you investigate a place. He goes, you would not investigate the way he's saying it in this book. And so he says, so I don't think anything is legitimate within this. I think he wanted to make himself sound like he was the great detective.
Mm.
So with that in mind, it becomes like, well, what's the truth? The truth is there was a shot that killed one of them, and then a shot that killed himself. I happen to think that Ned shot Hugh. And by the way, Noreen, they're both still in that house.
Oh, yeah, well, let's get to the hauntings after this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the story of what took place.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
I had also read that
Mhm.
nobody wanted to mess with Edward Doheny, because he was too powerful. He had
Mhm.
too much money. So they just stayed away, anything to do with them. And he was also acquitted of the scandal. He was
Yeah.
acquitted of that scandal when he did it.
Right. So here's the crazy thing about it. It was his only son. He had a child with his first wife back in the early 30s, I believe it was. I think it was the 30s. Could have been 20s. And his wife, they say, was fragile as well. And they had a child together. She lived up in San Francisco. And he was out trying to find gold and oil and all that stuff and was never around. And she got so depressed, and they weren't getting along. The child dies,
Hmm.
and she becomes so depressed and everything, but she's still tied to Edward. And suddenly Edward finds out that she has committed suicide by drinking battery acid.
Oh, yeah. How the hell can you drink acid?
That's exactly right. So to me, it sounds like she was murdered to get
Oh.
her out of the way of his, because he had all this money, he didn't want to deal with her or give it up to her or whatever. So she was taken out of the picture, and he got, I think, that was his son. I don't think I think they lost a daughter, and I think that was his son, was Ned. So Ned now was with Edward, and so yeah, the whole thing was odd, strange, how that came about. And what was there a question there that you had? Something about you mentioned something. Oh,
Oh,
I know what it was. I know
oh,
what it was.
go ahead.
So the whole thing was that how could all this have happened and he gets away with it, right? In the long run with Albert Fall and all that.
Yeah.
Well, so then Ned is shot and killed, his only son. He becomes a broken man, truly. He ends up going to court over the Elk Hills and Buena Vista Hills, and he is acquitted
Yeah, I
because they
know.
felt so bad for him that he had lost his only son and he was a broken man.
Oh, God.
But the crazy thing is, um, the money that he gave Albert Fall was from him, was from Edward L., right?
Hmm.
He gave him the money. So the guy who takes the money goes to jail,
Yeah.
but the guy who gave him money doesn't go to jail.
Yeah.
And that's where the phrase "the fall guy" comes from Albert Fall.
Fall. Yeah.
He took the fall. So um,
Well, it sounds like they really messed up on the investigation, but it sounds like they really didn't want to do it. They didn't want to get involved with that family.
no, and back then, again, no social media, obviously, but
No.
back then, it was the newspapers. So when Leslie White went to the papers, all these people, within 48 hours, the story was out of the papers, which is the biggest story ever back then. That this huge oil, tycoon and his son is murdered in the house by all out of the papers in 48 hours, done with.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We're
Oh,
not
I
talking about
know.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
right.
And in the LA Times, they did a drawing, like a sketch, to prove that their theory was correct. They said that Mrs. Doheny, Lucy, was in the living room, which they put in the diagram all the way to the end of the east end of the house. She goes, I was in the living room and I just heard like a chair fall over. Well, the living room is next door to the murder room.
Oh,
So it's literally next door to that room. So if she was in there, she would have heard the gunshots. She heard everything. But she said that she was she told the papers that where she was, and they put her at the far end of the house, which it is hard to hear things at the far end at the house, so huge. So that was a cover up as well. They brushed it under the rug and they moved on. And
yeah.
she stayed there until 1955. So I think a couple of years later, 2 years later, she married a guy. His name is Lee Batson. She married him, and he was not a good guy. And he messed around with the maids.
Oh,
And that's how the maids committed suicide, two of the maids, because they got pregnant.
oh my God.
Catholic household. And one maid hung herself
Oh,
in the servants' wing, which became our break room, oddly enough.
oh,
Things were happening in there, by the way, too. And then the other one slit her wrist in the meat locker.
oh no.
Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of things like that were happening there. And so that energy is still in there. Remember, it's Indiana limestone. So,
Yeah.
and Maureen, I'm telling you, I used to put my recorder in that house as many nights as I could, especially if there was filming there or a design show or something was happening there. I would put my recorder inside the house, different areas, and the sounds that I have, hundreds and hundreds of sounds, but there are gunshots that are.
Okay. How many gunshots?
You usually just get one.
Oh,
Even though there were two gunshots at one night, but you could get two, but it'd be over a separate period of time. But I have recordings of gunshots that would blow your mind, because it's like, it's not a door slamming. And even if it was a door slamming, which does happen a lot in the mansion at night when nobody's in there, it's not a door. It's a gunshot.
So you got this job at this mansion.
Mhm.
Again, how did you get that job there? And what were you supposed to do with this mansion?
Yeah. So it was all happenstance. So what happened was, a friend of mine was working at uh, uh, one of the events. So the city would put on events, which they still do. They have an art show. They had a Halloween event, all the and design shows, all that stuff. A buddy of mine said, "Hey, why don't you come by and see me? I'm doing a Halloween event over at La Cienega Park. Just come on by and say hi." I said, "Yeah, okay, I will." Went by and said, "Hey, so what's going on?" He goes, "Get behind that game over there and take tickets." And I go, like, I just came by to say hello. And he goes, "But I need to." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I started getting tickets. And then at the end of the event, I was loading hay, bales of hay into trucks and stuff like that. And the guy who runs this community services at that time, my buddy took him over and said, "This is a friend of mine, Clete. Um, uh, could he work for you guys for the city of Beverly Hills?" And I go, I didn't ask for a job." He goes, he goes, "We'd love to have you." I go, "Well, okay." So I eventually started working there and became like logistics for all the events that we would do. Like the art show was a huge one that they still do. And I would be head of logistics, overseeing where things were placed and all. So it was a good job, big job. And other events at that location. And then when they do filming or design show sometimes, then I would switch into the ranger as a park ranger, and I'd be overseeing things on the property with the other rangers. So I had like a dual thing going on for quite some time, and that's why. And my office was down at the gatehouse, down at the lower part of the property, and then eventually became the firehouse, which is at the middle part of the property. They had their own fire station, and it was upstairs. And I had my own office there, and I'd be working out of there. So
Okay, so when you started, you go there your first day. What was the energy like?
so again, I'm not one of those guys who can feel the vibes. I wish I was. I never was able to do that. But I will tell you that a lot of the rangers that worked back when I was there, and even some now, have the gift. They can feel, sense, hear, all that stuff. And it's very ironic that these people who have that gift end up working at that property. So, one of my first days there was one of the first days of Senior Ranger Steve Clark, who became the
Mm.
Senior Ranger. And my boss said, "Hey, look, they're filming a Sprite commercial up at the mansion. Why don't you go up and see what it's like and see what they're doing?" I said, "Okay." So I went up the West Drive up to the mansion. And when I get up there, this guy comes running out of the mansion. This is my first time up, running out of the mansion, going, "F this place, just swearing, going out of his
Oh
mind.
my
He runs through
God.
the courtyard and he's gone.
Oh
And I'm like,
God.
"What the hell was that?" So Steve is in there checking and everything. He comes back out, and I go, "What happened there?" And he said, "Well," and the story is, because this was one of Steve's first couple months working there, he didn't know how to contain all these people for shooting a commercial, because they're horrible. You
Oh,
know, it's the film company, so they'll get cables and wrap them up
oh
and throw them
yeah.
on the marble floor.
Oh,
They'll drill into wood. They'll do whatever
oh
they
my
can.
God.
So they're disrespecting the property. So Steve's like, "Hey, you guys can't. We're good. We're good. We're good." So this guy had gone up to the second floor landing to start to break down all the cables, and he's wrapping the cables and throwing it in, those milk cartons, those plastic milk
Yeah.
cartons. He's wrapping it, throwing the plastic milk cartons, throwing another carton, just being really disrespectful to the home. And so when he was wrapping one of the cables, one of those cartons just moved right across the room in front of him. And
Oh
he watched
my
it go,
God.
and he just ran out and said,
Oh,
"Burn this,"
oh my
and he was
God.
gone. And so that was the first time that I recognize something's up here. And I said to Steve, is this place haunted? He goes, I think so. And it wasn't long before Steve had to close up one night, and he closed up the mansion, put on the alarm, got outside, and he looked up, and a window was open in the servants' wing, which happened to be the window, by the way, where the woman hung herself.
Oh my.
That room. But he didn't know
Yeah.
that at that time. He just looked up and saw it and went, how'd that get open? Goes back in, turns off the alarm. It's like a window that you pull and you close it and you lock
Oh.
it that, and you
Yeah.
roll it, close it, and you lock it. So he does that. He goes through the rest of the house going, did I miss something else? He goes through everything, goes up, puts the alarm on, comes out, looks up, and it's open again.
Oh no.
And he just he had a boss that time was very strict and like, you make sure the mansion is secured and all this, and he's looking at it and going like, I'm supposed to go up there, but I'm not going up there. And he went and told his boss, hey, something's up with this place. And they hadn't told him anything. And
Oh
so
my God.
throughout the years, especially through the years that I was there, you would get new rangers that come in, and man, things would happen to these new guys that come in, and they think it's a joke. They think it's not true. And in fact, there was a meeting one time that Dan Hernandez, who was the other senior ranger, who's my best buddy, he said, hey, come in, I want you to talk to these guys. And because I was always told, don't talk about the ghosts, especially by the city. When I first started working, they said, you do not talk about the ghosts. Nothing about it. You don't say the murder room. It's the South guest room. I go, all right, all right, all right. So Dan says to me one day, he's got all these new recruits, rangers, up in his office. And he goes, I want you to talk to them. I said, talk to them about what? He goes, the ghosts. I go, do you want me to talk to them about? He goes, yeah. I go, all right, man. Okay. So he's talking about, you got to do this, you got to do that. He goes, okay, I have Clete, come on in. I said, hey guys. I said, so, listen, I just wanted to talk to you about this location, because eventually, you individually here, eventually you'll have to close up by yourself.
Oh no.
So you'll have to, if it's a wedding or whatever, you get everybody out, and then you have to go in, make sure the mansion's cool, locked, lights off, everything, put out the alarm, and then get out. So, so with that in mind, this place is active. That's what I always say. I'd never say it's haunted, there's spirits.
Active.
I'd never do that. So I just say it's active. And this one guy goes,
Good.
what does that mean? And I said, well, there are things that happen here. I'm trying not to get into it. And he goes,
Yeah.
the guy goes, I said, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I said, okay, there are spirits here. There are ghosts at this mansion. I'm like, oh boy, okay. And this one guy was like, what do you mean, man? And you could tell this guy had something happen, or he was Hispanic, so it might be that he's Catholic. And all these things come into play immediately. And I said, well, sometimes things happen, like, a light on that shouldn't be on.
Oh, but he loved it.
Cool about it. And the guy's going like, you could see the fear, honestly, in his face. Like, really? I go, yeah, but it doesn't always happen. But I mean, just sometimes. And Dan says, okay, with that, let's, Juan, this other ranger, Juan, why don't you take him inside, take him through on a walkthrough of the mansion so they can see it. And you see this one guy going like, he wasn't really into it. So I went with Juan, go inside the house.
Funny. Yeah.
And we're walking around, and Juan gives me this look because Juan has the gift.
Oh.
And we're walking around, and I'm walking to the guys, and I just get up front and say, you guys cool? They're like, yeah. But that one guy's like, he was on alert, and you could tell he was honestly frightened, which I felt horrible. So they go through the library, into the dining room, and Juan's saying, so this was their dining room, this, that. And as we start to go into the breakfast room off the dining room, all these guys are going. They go, Juan's standing at the door. They all file in. I'm the last person to make sure I keep everybody together. And I'm standing there, and Juan looks at me, and he's got this look, and I go like, what? He's like, I go, what happened? He goes, when you let them all in and you were standing there looking at me, there was a black shadow that went right behind.
Oh my.
I said, you tell them, lose everyone. So, after that tour, that guy he never came back. He was done. He was done.
Oh my God.
It scared him so much he never lasted.
Oh man. Oh.
So it's extremely active.
Who's there? Who's haunting that place still?
Well, I told you that Ned and Hugh are still there.
They're still there. So how do you know? What signs did you get that they were there?
Well, I ended up buying one of those, the Spirit Box SB7.
Oh yeah.
So I was just starting to get into it, right? I'll go like, is this real? I think this is all right. I'll do it. I'll spend the money, but I don't think it works. And so I got Dan, my buddy Dan. I said, hey, after we close up tonight, let's go in. I want you to come with me. We're going to go into the living room, and I'm going to try this. It's a Spirit Box. And I said, I'll give you my recorder, and we'll go in just for fun. He goes, I'll do it with you. I said, okay, let's do it. Close up, get everybody out of the park. We go inside. It's dark in the mansion. I've got the so I turn it on. I don't even know what I'm doing. You push that, I guess. I gave Dan a recorder, said, hang on to the recorder and just record what's going on. He says, okay. So obviously I have this recorded. And I said, hi, if there's anybody in here, would see this little red light, would you step forward and tell me your name? Who's in here with me? Ned. And let me tell you, that is a Class A response. It is so clear, Ned. And I look at Dan and I go,
oh my.
I don't think this is real, that it's not going to work. And he's just told me he's in the room with me.
Oh my God.
And I look at Dan and I go, did he just say Ned? He goes, I think he did. And I go, okay, hey, Ned, thank you so much. If that was you, would you say that again? And he goes, Hugh. A different voice says Hugh.
Oh no, oh my God.
They're both still here. They died in 29 and they're both still there.
Now,
which is sad to me because it's like can I give you another little example?
Yeah. Oh God. Anything you want to tell us is fine.
Okay. So the reason I bring this up is because I ended up going into our break room. Something happened one morning that Ranger Chan freaked out and called me, and I'm on my way to Greystone. I'm not going back in there. I've done. I go. Okay, take it easy. And he tells me in the break room, this big, it's like a framed poster of one of our design shows, glass, beautiful, flew off the bookcase and crashed in front of him, and he just ran out.
Oh my!
So we know that room is active, and that's where the woman hung herself, right?
Oh.
So I went in there one morning with I think it was my cell phone, and I said, "Look, I know you're in here, and I'm sorry what happened, but I can't see you. So is there a reason why you're in here? Is the reason that you're still here that you're afraid to find out what happens after you leave here and you go on? Play it back. Is there a reason after you go on? Yes. And it says yes to me. That's why they didn't move on, because this woman killed herself, and she was Catholic, and it's a sin. So they're afraid to cross into that light because they're afraid to find out what's going to happen to them.
Oh my
So they're still
God.
there. Now, is that the reason for Ned and Hugh? Why they're still there? Could be. Both Catholic, afraid to move on. This woman who was the maid, afraid to move on. The other woman that killed herself, slit her wrists. She went into the meat locker because there's a drain, and she didn't
Oh,
want her friends to have to clean up after her.
oh
So,
God.
I Steve and I always thought, is this like Ranger folklore? She killed herself we didn't know. And then one day this woman shows up and she says that, can I come in the house? And Steve says, there's no tour. And she goes, well, I think she said it was her mother's friend.
Mhm.
Could have been her mother's friend, worked here, and she slit her wrists in the meat locker.
Oh, so you know who it was. So did she give you the name?
No,
No name, huh?
no. But how would she even know that?
Yeah, that's
We
true.
never talked about it. We were told not to talk about any of the murders, any of that stuff. So when she comes up and says that, we're like, we've heard it as like Ranger folklore, but now a woman has told us that's what happened. We're like, oh my God. So we believe that to be true as well. And for the book, I walked as many people as I could that are in the book. I took them back to Greystone and walked them at the site where the haunting happened so that they would feel it again. I'm a horrible human being, but I knew that would make them feel it again. And so there was a ranger that's in the book named Luz, Luz.
Mhm.
Great woman, really nice woman. And I asked her, somebody said, hey, you should talk to Luz. And I go, who? I don't even know who that is. Oh, yeah, she was there before you got here. I said, okay, what do I meet her. I take her into the house and we start through the mansion. And at one point we get upstairs, the second floor landing. And she says, Clete, I used to go in when I have to lock up or whatever. I go through all I go into the gun room. Then I go right next to it, which is a kitchen, the upstairs kitchen.
Mhm.
And I would be in that upstairs kitchen and I would hear,
Really?
and I go, really? She goes, yeah. And so I'd be there and I walk out of the kitchen, look around and go, what is that? Go back in there.
Oh my goodness.
She come out, she goes, I couldn't figure out what that was. She goes, and then one day I heard it. When you walk out of the kitchen, there's a little hallway.
Yeah.
And right there is the meat locker. And she
Oh.
said, I walked out looking around and I was right next to this and I heard,
Oh my God.
I said, well, you know, that's the meat locker, right? And she said, yeah. I said, do you know what happened in the meat locker? And she says, no. I said, okay, well, and I told her about the woman killing herself in there, and she went, because she's got the gift.
Oh.
And she said she wanted to get out.
Oh, she's stuck in the meat locker?
Yeah, well, that's what she was saying. But I will tell you also during that interview, she heard something talking to her. And you could tell it was real because the way she reacted, she went, they just told me that she died in a meat locker. She was just so freaked out by that. But so she could hear things and she was feeling things and she saw Mr. Doheny, she saw Ned Doheny and all this. Her walkthrough was incredible. It was like 18 different stories that are in the book of her telling her story.
Oh my God. Okay, now listen. What I
Yeah.
want to know is you were in contact with these people that could get in touch with the other side. You had your little recorder. Did you ever ask Ned who killed who?
Yeah.
Did you do it?
Yeah, I did. All I can say is, and everybody does when because I'd bring in tours. I did ghost tours, I never got paid for it, didn't want money for it. I would bring people in that sometimes people were just visiting the park, like an Australian family was visiting the park and heard the guy up the top park and go, "Oh my God, this is where they shot, there'll be blood." And I went up to him, I said, "Yeah, it's down in the bowling alley." "Yeah, I always thought that would be fantastic." And I said, "Let's go look." He's like, "What?" I go, "Let's go. I'll take you in." He goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." So I brought him in and we looked at the bowling and I said, "Oh my God, this is fantastic." And then I said, "We're not done." And I gave him a full tour. It was like an
Oh,
hour and a half, 2 hours tour.
oh, nice.
And by the end of the tour, up at the front grand entry, where is also the exit, obviously, I said, "So it's all the stories and stuff like." And the guy goes, "I can't." I opened the door and the daughter just kind of ran out. And the moms are saying, "Thank you so much." I said, "You're welcome. You're welcome." And the son left and they leave. I close up, get ready. I start walking up to the top parking lot to get to my car. And the mother is standing there talking to another ranger. And I said, "I thought you left a long time ago," just joking with her. And she goes, "Oh, I was just telling him that my daughter was touched on your tour." I said,
Oh, no kidding.
"Is she okay?" She goes, "She's kind of freaked out." And I said, "Where is she?" So I went up to her and I said, "Hey,
Yeah.
are you okay?" She goes, "I never believed in this. It was my mom who believed in it. I didn't want to do this. I didn't believe in it." And I said, "Well, tell me what happened." And when she was standing near the grand entry and I was acting out this thing that happened to another tour that I did with this girl down in the basement where she was watching me, my back was to her, and she was watching with her sister and two other. Her hair flipped over. She had long hair, flipped over to one side. She was like, and she took it and put it, and I'm still talking. So this is where they use the
Oh,
fuses for all the electrical, and it happens again.
oh
And she's
my
like,
God.
she does this, and she looks behind her at the guy who was with her, and he's like, "What? What?" And she goes, she sits and watches, and it flips again. She goes,
Oh.
"Clete, I didn't even put it back. I just went, oh my God, I just want to get out of here." So I'm telling them that story. I'm also telling the story of this other woman who was touched at that location, at that same location, the grand entry, where she was standing there and she was touched. Her hair was pulled. Little did I know, when I was telling them that story and acting it out and everything, this girl had the same thing happen to her. Her hair was
Oh my God. So you didn't have, you don't, I guess you never carried around your little recorder, huh, with you?
not during
Oh,
the tour.
God, that would have been great to find out who
Yeah,
was
I
doing
didn't
that.
even think of that because it's a lot. It's usually, when I would do it, it'd be like 2 hours. It's a lot of information, and I'm really focused on telling the stories here. Let's go. We gotta go. We move on to the next room.
Yeah.
So I never really. I'll tell you another story, which hardly nobody really knows, which is very strange. But I gave a tour to a well-known director, and who's still out there today, because the tour wasn't that long ago. A friend of mine who's a producer comes to me and says, "Hey, would you give him a tour?" And I said, I had retired. I had left to write, and I go, "I don't really know. I have to contact the people to let me in again because I don't have the keys." He goes, "Well, I think you should give him a tour." I said, "Okay." Talked to him. They said, "Yeah, it's cool." I did it. He shows up. "Hey, nice to meet you. Let's go in." He goes, "I only have 45 minutes. I said, "Okay, all right." I didn't want to give the tour in the first place. So I said, "Okay." We go inside. It ended up being a 2-hour tour. And there was a story of, I mentioned Ranger Chan, who is a very good friend of mine as well. And Ranger Chan was asked one day, by Dan, "Hey, go close up the mansion. I'm stuck here doing all this computer work. Just close the mansion up for me." And he goes, "No problem, no problem." He's still working there, by the way. So if you go to Greystone Park and you see Ranger Chan, say Clete said hello, will you? So
Okay.
he doesn't want to talk about this stuff either, man. So Chan goes inside, checks the mansion, everything's set. There's a keypad for the security right by the front grand entry. He's checking, looking up the second floor landing. He looks over, and when you come into the mansion, there's a small little staircase to the right that leads to a little flat area, and then a large staircase that goes up to the second floor landing. He looks over and sees this. So you have like the balustrades, like the banister.
Mm-hmm.
The banister that goes up goes to
Yeah.
a post. So the banister looks like, so here's the post, and the banister goes up to the post.
Okay.
He looks over and he sees, how could I do this? I'll use the book. He sees, when he looks over there, he sees this. This little hand comes around.
No.
Yeah. So I don't know how else to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And he goes like, no. Now he's had things happen with this before. He's like, no. And then he sees from that location, he sees hair swing down. And he's like, no. And then he sees,
oh, get out of here.
looks right at him, and he goes and runs out of the building.
Oh my God.
I have this producer
Yeah.
in the mansion, and I do the whole thing. We get to the last part. Well, that was at the beginning of the tour. He's using his phone. I'm acting this out. Just saying, so he's look over, he just looks over, he sees the hands coming, then he looks at the hair swing, and then on the face, he's got his cell phone out.
Yeah.
I said, okay, let's move on. And we go down through the tour. He comes up to me at one point and says, and he's got his phone. He goes, what is this? And I look at it and I go, well, you caught something. It's a mist. It's like ectoplasm forming on the right. And he goes, no, seriously, what is it? I go, that looks like ectoplasm. You caught something. He goes, I do this for a living. I have never, ever had anything like this on a camera. I said, welcome to Greystone.
Oh
And
my.
I wasn't kidding. We
Wow.
go through everything, finish. He leaves. I said, give him a book. I say, enjoy your night. He leaves. About 6 months later, he contacts me. And I can't tell you why, but he contacts me. We talk, we discuss. I say, okay. And then the guy who brought him in, my buddy Jeff, calls me up and says, hey, I got to talk to you. And I said, oh, okay. And he says, listen, remember you did the tour for this guy? And I said, yeah. And he says, he was using his cell phone. I said, that's okay. Because sometimes they say no cell phone, no photos. I said, that's okay. He goes, no. That's not the point. He was using his phone when you were acting all that stuff out with the little girl. He was taking photos. I said, it doesn't matter. He goes, no, but that's not the point. When he took these photos, he showed me these photos. He took like 15 photos.
Yeah.
And he says, you can see the little girl's face
Get out of here.
around that post. And he says, and Clete, she looks green. He said, and then there's another photo. She's standing up on the stairs that go up to the second floor landing. She's standing there just looking at him.
Oh my God. Did you put these images in your book?
This was after the book.
Oh God, you should write another book.
Well, there's a chance something's going to happen here. But here's what else happens. He leaves that day. Remember, he went. So what I find out from my buddy is that he has a place out here in LA, and he goes to this huge mansion of his out here in LA, and he hears. Now he lives by himself, and he's like,
oh my God.
He looks out into the hallway, and this little girl's running away from him.
Oh my God. Oh. Well, it followed him home. It might not be in a personal attachment, but it followed him home.
attached to follow him home.
Yeah.
She
Holy
wasn't
cow.
jumped, but she attached herself to him to go home.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. But I'm sure it finally left. They usually leave.
I haven't talked to him lately.
Yeah, they do that. But then they leave.
Yeah, I had another guy who was on a tour that I gave, a nighttime tour, the tour that the girl's hair flipped.
Yeah.
And that guy had an attachment. He was jumped, and I didn't know it. They never said anything. And he also saw a little girl in the house. Same girl. We know who it is. And he was jumped, and he became a different guy from what the girls who were there telling me the story, that he became a different guy for 2 weeks.
And then what happened? Did he
woke up one day, it was gone.
Oh, really? It left him? Oh, he was lucky.
Yeah, he was lucky. But he said that like the next day he went to work, and he goes, my best friend's name is Phil. He works with me. And he goes, and my boss used to joke around all the time and say, hey, his name is Ben. Hey, Ben, you hit Phil, I'll give you $1,000. And then he'd say, Phil, hit Ben, I'm going to give you $1,000. Just joking, right? So he says to Ben, hey, Ben, hit Phil, I'll give you $1,000. And he looks at Phil, and he almost knocked him out.
Oh my.
And he says to me, he goes, Clete, it was not me. It wasn't me. I was looking at him like through different eyes, like I wanted to kill him.
Oh my God.
Like, we were jumped. And he had no idea. He goes, what does that mean? I go, you had a spirit that went home. And when I'm talking to him in the book, it's even in the book, when I was talking to him at the location to bring him back to that location, which it freaked him out. He was starting to sweat, and he goes, are you doing something to me or whatever? And I go, Ben, take it easy. Take it easy. He goes, are you hot? I said, no, I'm good. And the girls say, we're fine. He goes, you guys are effing with me. I go, okay, we're done. We're done. Let's go. And I took him out of the house because I think he was an easy mark to be jumped, I guess.
Yeah.
So he was being really.
Yeah, you can become very vulnerable to these spirits.
So, but he was a really cool dude, but it was a trippy night, man. He saw a lot. He was jumped, and he saw a little girl. He was like, so.
Wow,
yeah.
that's
Things
amazing.
Like that.
Those stories are awesome.
Yeah, and that's a couple out of like 300.
Yeah.
It was nuts. I mean, at one point, the editor called my brother and myself. We did this by ourselves. We put it together ourselves, and he calls up and says, you're at 700 pages now. And I go, what? He goes, so you got to cut this down. So I said, okay. So I cut 50 stories out of it to get it down to now it's like, look how thick this is. It's 520. It's crazy. It's crazy. We had no idea it was going to be like that. We thought, well, if you're into ghosts, you get 280 stories, whatever, and they're all real, all about that location. And one other thing, Noreen, just so you know, I don't know if you know this, but Chris, my brother, and I, we did a YouTube thing where we don't know from all this stuff, but we were told, hey, why don't you do a YouTube show? We go, well, we have the book. And they mentioned but if you put the actual interviews of the people talking on YouTube, and we can hear those, that might be a cool thing. And I went, that's not a bad idea. So if you go to Ghost of Greystone Beverly Hills on YouTube, you'll see my brother and myself, and my brother's a skeptic. He doesn't believe it.
Oh, he doesn't?
No, he's just like, come on. You'll see if you just for yourself, if you want to go look at it. And we go through, we did 20 shows.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we did 20 shows, and they're broken up with like locations. So the first show's either I think it's about the house in the background and all that stuff, and it might be that and the grand entry.
Well, wait a minute. On these YouTube, did you put your name on there? You need to put your name in the title, so when people type in your name, it will come up.
Yeah, we're horrible.
You have to do that.
I didn't know anything about that, and we if you watch the show, you'll see we almost forget about the book at the end. I go, okay, and Chris goes, we forgot to talk about the book. I go, oh yeah, so we did a book. If you care, we're not sellers. We didn't do it to do
Oh
these promotional things.
God.
But if you want to hear the actual voices of the people, and so you'll hear that, and also at the end of every episode, there's 20, you'll hear an actual sound that I recorded inside the mansion.
Okay, let me tell you something. You got to go back in. You got to go back in, and in that title, you have to put your name in somewhere in that title. And okay, you have to do that, because then I will put your name in the title on this episode. So if somebody goes into YouTube looking for you, all of those videos will come up.
Okay. I'll tell my brother. He's good with that. So I'm
gonna see if you do that or not. I'm gonna look for that.
Don't you haunt me. Okay, I'll tell Chris.
Yeah, please do that. I will keep after you until you do that. Okay. Oh, Keith, thanks so much for coming on the show.
This was fun.
It was really a good time. I really enjoyed you.
Excellent. Thank you.
So nice. Hey, if anything else comes up, please let me know. I'd love to have you back on the show.
Okay. Yeah, there might be actually. There's some things down the road.
Oh, I'm getting the feeling that there is. Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll hear about it, and then you'll contact me, and we'll do it all over again. Okay.
Please. Thank you. Thanks so much, Clete. Thank you. Good luck to you. I hope something really big happens for you. Thank you.
That'd be nice. Thanks for being so kind.
Oh, thank you. Good night. Thank you. Good night.
Bye, honey.
Bye. Okay, hold on. Let me go back to. No, that's not it. Damn it. This. Okay. Oh gosh. Me. Okay. Hey everybody. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. What fun I had with Clete. Really had a lot of fun with him. What a great guy. Let me see if I can fix this. Hold on. There we go. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show. It was a lot of fun. I wish him a lot of luck, and I hope that he gets something really good happening to them. So let's see. So the next show, my guest is Drew Beeson. And Drew Beeson is going to bring on a friend of his. It's going to be on the update on the Zodiac. You know, the Zodiac was never. They didn't find out who the Zodiac was, and they've done a lot of updates because his channel is mostly on the Zodiac, and he's always talking about the Zodiac. And there's something else I want to talk to him about. What's happening now, and it's George Hodel. No, is that no? I think it's Steve Hodel. He wrote a book, and he has said this years ago. About his father, George. He was Dr. George Hodel. And actually, I'm going to do a show on, I'm going to put together a show myself on George Hodel. He was pretty sure he was the killer of the Blue Dahlia. And so now Steve is claiming his father was the Zodiac killer. And I just don't understand that. I'm going to get Steve's book because I want to read it. And I just don't see how that could possibly be, because at one point I had checked, and George was, I think he was in Europe at the time the Zodiac killers were happening, unless he wanted people to think that he was out of the area and was involved in these killers. So I'm going to do a show with Drew on that. He, like I said, he's the expert now on the Zodiac, and I need to find out. But I would like to find out also from a psychic. So my goal now is to do a lot of unsolved mysteries and murders. Unsolved missing people, unsolved mysteries, unsolved, missing people, mysteries and murders. That's what I want to concentrate on. I won't probably do so much. Oh, so what I'm gonna do is I don't want to just tell the stories. Sometimes I will, because I'm gonna talk about some of the hauntings I've been involved in and locations, but I still haven't found my book. I have not found my book, my trip to Louisiana. If that would show up, then I could show you pictures from my album and talk about things, the paranormal things that happened. But I don't want to do it without showing you evidence that I'm telling you the truth. But I have Bodie, the national. Oh, it's a historic abandoned ghost town. I can show pictures and tell you what happened at the haunted Brookdale Lodge, which my Paranormal Zone TV team, we were the official team to the Brookdale Lodge, and this was years ago, and we could go there anytime we wanted. It was, oh my God, we had so much fun. And then also we were the haunted the Hornet, the USS Hornet aircraft carrier. We were the professional team and the official team to that location as well. And we were always allowed to go on there. And I want to talk about those. I can talk to you and give you pictures and tell you about those 3 locations and the crazy things that what happened to me at those locations. So I'm going to do a show on that. But I really want to concentrate. I don't want to get. I mean, he was a fabulous guest, and and if I can get, if he was fabulous, I'm going to try and do more of the other things that I really want to do. And what I'm going to do is when I do the unsolved mysteries, I'm going to have Marcia Cord, I think it is. I've known her for years, and she did do a show one time with me, and it was really a good show. She did a really good job. And she's a tarot card reader, but she's more than a tarot card reader. She's been doing this for 30 years. She is an expert. And there's something, she's got another title that she has besides tarot. And she also has like some psychic abilities. So I'm going to use her on the show when I talk about these unsolved mysteries and see what she picks up with her cards. And then also Serenity Jen, she wants to come on the show once a month and do unsolved mysteries with me. But I'm going to also, what I'd like to do in place, I don't want to do it every month. I'll have one of them every other month or so, because I also want to put in haunted locations that I love, like haunted what do they call, like playlands, like amusement parks, haunted dolls, some really scary haunted locations, places that people won't go, haunted ghost towns. I want to incorporate that into my show. So, oh yes, Chip, yes, honey. That's why when I do oh my God, when I have the recording, Chipper, I have the recording of the Whistler. Oh my God. Oh, I'm giving you the creeps. Anyway, I have that, so I will include that in my the USS Hornet. And oh God, there's some other crazy things that happened. So anyway, so that's what I'm up to. I want to start doing things that I really want to do. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there that have written fabulous guests, but I spend a lot of time looking for guests. It's really time consuming, and then I got to track them down and see if they want to show, and then I got to read their book, where I could do my own research and come up with my own shows with having to read books. So I don't know. That's what I'm thinking about, and I'll try it out. I'll try that out. I know I've talked to I've talked to Tallcross about this too. Oh, sea monster, Tallcross, you're funny. Okay, so what do you think? Just drop me a line. Drop me a down below. Drop me a comment or two, okay, about the show tonight, and your thoughts of upcoming shows. And also, if you're still watching, because I know there's still people in watching, would you please subscribe to my channel? I'd really appreciate it. Please don't forget to give the show a like if you're still on here. I'd appreciate that as well. Okay, so let's see. Anything else? Oh, Dave contacted me 2 days ago. He says, "Hey, when am I coming on your show?" I said, "Oh, well, let's see. What did I do? I scheduled him for." Okay, so Jen's coming March. Oh no, that's not right. Oh no, that's not right. March 12th and 26th is I think one of those is the Terra mystery thing, and the 26th I'm gonna try and do my show that I want to do, but April 9th is Dave. We're gonna do unknown monsters. I mean, there isn't anything he doesn't know, so we try to come up with a topic, and I said, "Well, you want to do monsters?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "How?" And he told me of a monster, the Grafton monster. I said, "I never heard of that." He said, "Oh yeah." He said, "There's a lot of unknown monsters that people don't know about." So that's what it's going to be on. And then I'll schedule Jen in here too. Tallcross gave me tons of ideas for haunted locations. So I'm going to do some of those that he sent to me. All right, so let's do some shout outs, okay? Let me move this over. Let me see if I can see. Let me do some shout outs. Okay. Let's see. How am I going to see how to do this? Okay. All right, so is that gonna work just like that? Okay. All right, let me go up here. I want to thank you so much for my my mods. I didn't was I don't know was Renee in tonight? I don't think she was in tonight. I know Chipatera was. My Chipatera, my mods, I love them so much. They've been with me for so many years. They're so loyal to me. It's unbelievable. All right, let's see. I don't see. Okay, I know. Okay, so let's see. I am Alpha. Oh, guys, thank you so much. I'm going to name your names off, and I appreciate you so much for being here. I really do. I am Alpha, Nebaseta, Sarah, Shara, Claire. Oh, Jujubi. Oh, I haven't seen you for a while. Sequoian one Abel. I don't know. Am I saying that right? I'm sorry. I should have got my glasses. Shelly Wayne, Tallcross from Scotland, my buddy from Scotland. Let's see. See where else can I see? Anybody else in the chat room? Am I missing anybody? Jeremy 0160, thank you. You're new. I haven't seen you before. Oh, let's see. Oh, do you guys see my kitty? Luna, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here, mommy. Come here. Let me see if I can get her. She's a biter. Oh, this is Luna. This is my Luna. I love my Luna. One of my 6 kitties. Let's see. Who else? Oh, let's see. I can't. This is really bad. Okay, you get down. You can get down. You can get down. Come on, you can get down, mommy. Come on, mama. You can get down. All right, let's see. All cross. Oh, Leonora Martinez. Oh, this is really screwed up. I'm so sorry, guys. 3B3 airspace, Sun. I guess Chris didn't come in tonight. Did you guys see Chris? Okay, let's see. Let me go back. Okay, I don't see anybody else. Did I miss anybody? Did I miss? Oh, there's Chris. Okay. I don't know if he stuck it out. Let's see. Okay. Okay, anybody else? Did I miss anybody? Oh, thanks. Thanks, Tall Cross. Thank you. I hope, I'm not a storyteller. I told that to Tall Cross. I'm just not a storyteller, but I'll try my best. And I'll try my best. See how that works out. Yeah, put your messages down below, okay? Anybody else? Where's Christopher Chris? Anybody else? Oh God. I want to tell the story too of and in fact I might bring McCoy. I want to know, there's the Zodiac killer, and then he came after the Arkansas Texarkana hooded serial killer. I don't know if you guys know that story, but I thought, oh my God, there's got to be a connection between the two, because those are the only two that I know that did the hood. And I thought, well, maybe the Zodiac copied the Texarkana, but I can't remember the dates. I would have to get the dates to check them out to see how if that was the case, because the Zodiac, the only reason I think he did the hood with the cross on it, well, see, the police department named him the Zodiac, and so he followed through with that theme, because somebody saw him. He thought he had killed this young man, but he didn't. And so they got a description of him, and that's okay. So that description of the Zodiac is similar to the George Hodel. So we got to do a show on that. And then Texarkana, the whole time he always wore a hood. It never came off. So I don't know the dates. I have to figure it out. If there's a connection between those two, I'm not sure. Was there a Sarah here? Did I miss Sarah? Oh, Sarah Claire. Okay. All right, guys. Okay, yeah. Now, see, yeah, I can do the West Memphis 3. I'll have to bring Jen in on that one. So just put your suggestions down below, really, because I will read them. Okay, so put them down below. I will read them, and I'm really excited because I want to start. I'm really excited about starting to do shows that I want to do, topics that I want to do. There's so much out there. And Tall Cross and I talked about, there was a couple of cases that is absolutely horrible, where the husband and wife were serial killers. luring young kids in and killing them. One is, the last name is Rose, and I can't remember. Tallcross sent it to me. I can't remember who the other people were. But I don't think you guys know about those stories. Anyway, Tallcross has gave me a lot of suggestions. Okay, so I'm gonna go now. Anybody else want to shout out? Okay. Did I miss anybody? Okay, I'm gonna go now. Love you guys. Thank you so much again for joining me. You have no idea how much I appreciate you. And it's just I love doing these shows, and I will continue to do them as long as I can. Okay. So everybody, good night to you. I love you so much. Have a great and safe weekend. Happy Valentine's Day. Saturday's is Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day to you all. My love to you. I love you guys, and thank you so much. And I will see you. Let's see when I'll see you. I'll see you on the 26th. Okay. I'll see you then. Love you guys. Good night. Thank you so much. Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you.